Welcome to worship with the community of First Unitarian Church of Omaha. My name is Valerie Palacios, and I will be serving as your worship associate this morning. Whether you are attending online or in person, I am glad you have chosen to join us for worship today. I offer up a special welcome to our visitors. This congregation is a community of all ages and abilities. It's community with a rainbow of gender and sexual identities, a community of diverse cultural and class backgrounds. We draw from many sources of inspiration and share common liberal religious values. Whoever you may be, we welcome you to bring your whole self into this community. If you are joining us online, you are encouraged to create a YouTube account and sign in so you can have access to the comment feature for online chatting during service. We also encourage you to join us online comments to share joys and concerns that will be lifted up in worship, to say hello to other online attendees, or to share something about how the service connected with you. For those here in person, you're invited after the service to go down to the common room for coffee and conversation. To find out what else is going on this week, you can scan the QR code or take a printed e-news in the foyer. We affirm that our church occupies the traditional treaty lands of the Omaha and Ottawa, Missouri tribal nations whose sovereignty existed long before the state of Nebraska. We would also like to express our respect to the Ponca and Winnebago tribes of Nebraska, the Santee Sioux tribe of Nebraska, and over 170 other tribes represented within the Omaha area. At First Unitarian Church of Omaha, we invite all to join us to go beyond acknowledgments by educating ourselves and supporting causes, charities, and rights of Indigenous peoples in the area. And now our prelude. This morning, we light the chalice, the symbol of our faith, and as the chalice is lit, I invite you to join us in the chalice lighting words. Kindle this flame, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life. Before I begin our call to worship, I would like to make an announcement. If you are new to our First Church, visitors are invited to a First Steps meeting after the service. Grab some coffee in the common room and then meet our membership coordinator, Melissa. She stepped out for a moment, but she was in the back there, in the Merit Lounge, which is upstairs. It's a room, it's really cozy with a bunch of couches for an informal chat about our church and the Unitarian Universalist denomination. Couldn't read that last word, I apologize. Open to Joy by Alea Kemmler. You can prepare, but still it will come to you by surprise. Crossing through your doorway, calling your name in greeting. It will astonish you how wide your heart will open in welcome for the joy that finds you so ready and still so unprepared. Now please rise if you are able to join us to come sing a song with me, our opening hymn, number 346, in your Singing a Living Traditions hymnal.
Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up, and pop, out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for some food. On Monday, he ate through one apple, but he was still hungry. He started to look for some food. On Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, but he was still hungry. He started to look for some food. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums, but he was still hungry. He started to look for some food. On Thursday, he ate through 4 strawberries, but he was still hungry. He started to look for some food. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges, but he was still hungry. On Saturday, he ate through 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 pickle, 1 slice of Swiss cheese, 1 slice of salami, 1 lollipop, 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 sausage, 1 cupcake, and 1 slice of watermelon. That night, he had a stomachache. The next day was Sunday again. The caterpillar ate through 1 nice green leaf, and after that, he felt much better. Now he wasn't hungry anymore, and he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big, fat caterpillar. He built a small house called a cocoon around himself. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks. Then he nibbled a hole in the cocoon, pushed his way out, and he was a beautiful butterfly.
So I chose that story for all ages because it is truly for all ages, and I can guarantee a majority of the congregation, if not remembering it from your own childhood, has read it to others growing up in their own childhoods. This was one of my very favorites. And not only does it speak to, learning to count and the colors and food and how you eat, but it is a beautiful story of transformation of what we move to and through, becoming from birth as a caterpillar into a beautiful butterfly throughout life. We are constantly changing and metamorphosing. And so I chose that story for coming of all ages. At this moment, if we could please have Jerry Tritch come up and share with us one of our capital campaign moments.
Hi, I'm Jerry. Sounds like an AA meeting, doesn't it? So today we formally launch the capital campaign. So in the mail this week, you'll get a letter. You'll get the full pitch. You'll get exciting handouts, and you get a pledge form. I want to remind you of a few things that you've already heard and things that are going to be in the letter. But we have planned $500,000 in capital projects. Half of those projects are already underway. They're funded, and they await, some of them await contractor scheduling. Those projects that are already underway include the window refurbishment, a replacement of the RE roof, and let's see, steeple repair and exterior repair, or exterior painting. So the goal of the capital campaign then is to raise the other half of the money. That's $250,000, and that's the goal of the campaign. That money will go directly to a new roof for the church, a lightning protection system, and a new elevator. We expect to get all this construction done this year in 2025, with the exception of the elevator, which we're planning for 2026 next year. More detail on all the building projects and on the capital campaign will be in the common room after the service, so stop by the pledge table. And we have people that will provide information. We also have some fun facts about the building, which you should scrutinize closely and see if there's anything in there that you don't already know. And while you're down in the common room, consider making a pledge. We'll take a photo of you with our finials. I said finials, that would be 2. We have one that fell off 5 years ago and one that just came down 2 weeks ago. So you get a chance to see both of them and get your photo taken with both of them. The hard hats are optional for the photos, although if you're going to take a walk around the perimeter of the building, you might want to have one on anyway. We'll add your photo to our capital campaign wall of honor, which we're putting together downstairs. Now, I'm not supposed to tell you that I am confident that we will raise the $250,000, even though I've been saying precisely that to anybody who's been listening to me over the last 3 months. So, don't make me a liar. Let's see. Please consider making your pledge early. Make it now before, while the ultimate result is still in doubt, because that's more exciting. At this point, we don't know if we're going to make the $250,000 pledge, so if you give now, you could be part of that, making that happen. Now, I want to, one other thing. I see Judge Randall here. That reminds me. Don't forget about the stewardship drive that begins March 2nd. And please don't short your pledge for that stewardship drive in order to make a larger pledge to the capital campaign. We will be grateful for whatever it is that you can donate to the capital campaign. And we appreciate your support also for the operating budget. Now, I want to tell you about 4 members of our church who have the distinction of putting the first cold, hard cash into the capital campaign. We did a soft launch of the capital campaign on December 15th. That was just 1 week after the congregation voted unanimously to fix up the building. In that short week, Carolyn McNamara, Vanessa Timberlake, and Nellie Chenoweth organized a bake sale in the common room to benefit the capital campaign. And that touched me deeply. I don't know about you, and the baked goods, they were pretty great too. The next part here, I have trouble getting through without a lump in my throat. But on that same Sunday, Terry Lynn Brewer brought books to church from her own bookshelf, spread them out on a table in the common room, and sold them for donations to the capital campaign. Terry Lynn Brewer has a heart as big as this sanctuary. So I want to thank all of you, particularly those 4 women. There's nothing I can say that would make the case to get involved in this capital campaign better than the story of those 4 women, so I'm not even going to try. I do urge you to participate financially in the capital campaign at some level, because this is your building, your church, your community, and it is your opportunity. When we reach our goal, and we will reach our goal, I want you personally to feel a special satisfaction of having help us make a successful capital campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. So each week, we share our blessings with others through a community offering. Half of the loose currency in the offering plate is donated to a local cause which resonates with UU values. If you are online or prefer to give via your smartphone, you can use the QR code or the link provided in our order of service. Our share plate recipient for January is Restoring Dignity, bringing lasting change and hope to local refugees in the Omaha area through empowerment, education, and advocacy partnerships. Now let us take a moment to share any joys and concerns our congregation may have. Those online may put items to be shared in the comment area. Colin? And please note that any joys or concerns that you share in both mind and spirit are both supported and uplifted here. So now let's take a moment and just sit back and relax in your seats. Find a comfortable position for yourself, preferably both feet on the floor, perhaps, hands in your lap. Relax as I go into our contemplative reading, and we'll provide silence afterwards. Our contemplative reading today is Be Still by Donna Miesbach. Be still, my soul, and question not the unseen hand that wrought the plot that brought you to this time and place. For all your doubts will not erase the things that made you what you are and brought you to this very hour. So do not strain or question why. The stars are in their place, and so am I. At this time, we would like to welcome the sanctuary singers up to share their gift of music with us. This morning, I'm being the distinct pleasure and honor to be able to be up here in the pulpit this morning, not only to help deliver the order of service, but also to introduce to you our speaker for today. Our speaker is Donna Miesbach, and she is a highly accomplished author, musician, vocalist, pianist, organist. More importantly to me, my grandmother. She has traveled through a most incredible spiritual journey that I have been blessed and fortunate enough to also tag along with her a time or two, and has also led me toward my spiritual journey as well. She is amazing, and I'm losing words because a million of them are coming at once. What I can tell you, she's traveled the world on her spiritual journey and has been a part of some incredibly amazing spiritual opportunities with people the likes of David Simon, Deepak Chopra, several spiritual leaders around the world. At this time, it is my incredible honor to introduce to you my grandmother, Donna Miesbach.
Thank you so much, Valerie. As my mother used to say, as far as amazing goes, it takes one to know one. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and share these few thoughts with you. So here we are at the beginning of a new year, oftentimes thought of as a time for new beginnings, new intentions. Those new beginnings can come anytime, though, can't they? Sometimes we expect them, and sometimes we don't, and sometimes they really take us by surprise. That's what happened to me 30 years ago when my husband went outside to check the sprinklers, and he dropped in his tracks, and there was nothing they could do to bring him back. 2 weeks prior, he had gotten the best report he'd ever had. He'd had a history of heart problems, and we thought maybe that would mean a few more years. But that was not to be. I was devastated. I was lost. I felt like half of my being was missing. My purpose in life was gone. I had believed for a long time that all things come, bearing a gift. But how could that be possible now? I just didn't see how. So I did the only thing I knew to do. I started praying. What do you want me to do now, Lord? Where do I go from here? Because I really did not know. It was a rocky beginning. I was just trying to survive. What I needed was answers. And nothing I had, at least that I could think of in my home, was there to help me. But I had to have some kind of help. And then it occurred to me, I don't know, maybe it was an answer to my prayer. But maybe I should go to the bookstore. Maybe there was something there. And wouldn't you know it, the first thing I saw was Dr. John Kabat-Zinn's book, Full Catastrophe Living. Are you familiar with it? It's amazing. And one of the first things I read in there was, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Wow. That meant there was something I could do. It was like finding light at the end of the tunnel, maybe even a thread of hope that it could get better. Well, I've never surfed on the ocean, have you? Valerie's husband is a master surfer, and he can tell you if you're going to surf, you have to have balance. That's true for these emotional waves, these emotional upheavals too. Balance. Okay, how am I going to find balance? Well, I started doing all the traditional things like trying to eat a healthy diet, which was something I really didn't even feel like eating at the time. But I had a cherry pie that someone had brought me. I'll have that for my dinner. Well, it didn't work. My body was hungry. It said it needed more. So I had to work on bringing a balanced diet into my life. And I did exercising and trying to get rest, all of those things, but it wasn't enough. I still needed more. Well, that more came the next summer when a good friend called me and told me to quick turn on the television. There was someone I needed to hear, and it was Dr. Deepak Chopra. Have you heard of him? Well, he is amazing. And one of the things that he said was he was talking about his courses on meditation and spirituality and creating health, all of which I desperately needed. He spoke the language of spirituality that I had always hungered for. And so I went out and got the book he talked about, and afterwards I had 3 questions. So I called the number in the back of the book, and we must have talked for 20 minutes. And she asked if I'd like to be on their mailing list. Well, yeah, this interests me. So she sent me a brochure in January, and it talked about their course out in Colorado called Seduction of the Spirit. And there was a picture of a young woman sitting in lotus position on the side of the mountain, and she was meditating. And everything they were going to be talking about in that course was what I needed to hear. So I went. And of course, what I heard there was exactly what I needed. And at the end of the course, they talked about another course they were going to be doing, Creating Health, down in La Jolla. Well, I had to do that. And then they talked about a course they were doing in Chicago on mind-body medicine. Well, if anybody needed that, I did. So there you go. I just gave myself permission because it was making such a difference in my life. Deepak talked about how we can move beyond our pain and sorrow. I didn't know that. That was news to me. But he is right. It doesn't happen all at once, but it can happen a step at a time. My studies made such a difference for me that I wanted to share what I was learning with others. So I committed to becoming certified so I could teach. You see, actually, life is our teacher. I don't know if you've thought about that before. I know I had not. But when challenges do come along, you can be sure school is still in session. Difficulty almost always is our most important teacher. I didn't know that then, but I was finding that out. And the harder the challenge, the greater the lesson. And that's why I like to say, adversity shapes and defines us in ways that nothing else can. So when life gets difficult, try asking yourself, what can I learn from this? What is this trying to teach me? And then go within and listen. Move into the silence of your soul and let God lead you. Let God heal you. Finding Deepak came at the perfect time, because soon after that, we lost Daddy very suddenly. It was quite unexpected. And 6 weeks later, Mother had a massive stroke. The paralysis made it necessary for her to go to a nursing home. And soon after that, she started having breathing problems. So frequently I would get a call in the middle of the night saying, "We're rushing your mother to the hospital. Can you join us?" I would shift into my crisis mode, throw on my clothes, and go tootling down the highway. Even with my meditation practice, it was an emotional roller coaster. Eventually, one time at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was walking out of the hospital. I was just exhausted, and I stopped and I just put my foot down and I said, "Something has got to change." Well, as soon as I said that, I realized Mother couldn't help what was happening. If anything was going to change, it had to be me. Then one day after she was back in the nursing home, I got another call at 7:30 in the morning, and she was having a really difficult day. Could I come? I had been going every single day, but oftentimes it was to the hospital rather than the nursing home. But I threw on my clothes, gulped down a piece of toast, and headed down that familiar highway. And wouldn't you know it, a car came up. I was not speeding, but I think the car must have been, because as it was passing me, I saw the license plate. And this really happened. It said, "You are okay." It was like a message from heaven. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm okay, and Mother is okay, and this is just part of the journey. That left me with such a feeling of peace that just wrapped me around, and it stayed with me until I got to the nursing home. And it was with me when I walked into her room, and she could feel it too. So we just kind of talked and laughed and smiled and had one of the best days we had ever had. Slowly, I was finding out that victories of the Spirit require letting go of things as they are. Letting go helps us see what we can or cannot change, and it frees us from being stuck in the past. So why do we cling to things as we know them? Well, it's because it's familiar. Even when it hurts, it's what we know. And when we do cling, we're resisting the change. But we have a choice. We always have a choice. And this was something I was just learning. Instead of responding automatically with fear or anxiety or frustration, we can choose compassion or courage or trust in the Lord. The amazing thing is that once acceptance has entered your heart, new coping tools emerge that change forever how you meet the events of life. Your perspective shifts, and your natural response becomes, now, how do you want me to use this, Lord? Is there something here I can learn? Or is there some way I can serve through this? Without your ever knowing it, your simple act of acceptance leaves a pattern that others can follow. Almost like a path, like invisible footsteps in the snow. You see, we're all connected. We're like mountain climbers that have that lifeline, and if one is making good headway, they're all making good headway. But if one is having trouble, they're all in danger. That reminds me of a saying that I really like, and it speaks to this. It says, when the ocean rises, all the ships afloat are lifted too. Life is like that, isn't it? We all come from the same source. We all have the same Creator. And the nature of our source, of our Creator, is unconditional love. I'm talking about a love that accepts us just the way we are. No judgment, just love. Whatever we may or may not have done, it's all forgiven. All there is love. When you know in the depths of your being what love is really like, you just want to be that love too. Love's way is all you could have ever asked for, all you could have hoped for. You see, our problems almost always are about love. It took me a long time to understand that, but it's true. Love is at least part of the answer. Then when difficulty does come along, you start asking, well, how do I need to bring love into this picture? How can love help heal this? We'll never be able to fully understand the good plans that God has for us or how they're going to unfold, but we can trust. We can open ourselves to His will and His love because they are always at work within us, no matter what. Yes, I know, love isn't easy. There are all of those things you have to forgive, and all those things you have to overcome. But if you're faithful to the task, you grow into a new way of being, and your potential begins to flourish. As you walk through your challenges then, as you grow from them, you discover a deeper form of love, more strength, more courage, more wisdom, and you realize, perhaps for the very first time, that the God who created the planets and stars and set them in their perfect place is doing the same for you. Yes, He's doing the same for you. Or to put it more poetically, I could say, I think the angels must have wondered when they heard that great explosion. They did not know that God was making stars. So with us, when chaos seems apparent, we must be mindful that good is being formed and even now is destined to occur. So when life gets turned upside down, as it does sometimes for all of us, just know you've entered a growing time. Yes, it will stretch you, and it will challenge you, but it will also bless you in ways you have not yet begun to imagine. Thank you so much. You've just been a wonderful audience. May you always be blessed, and may you always follow the light within you. Namaste.
It's hard following that. Thank you so much for being here today. At this time, we would like to have you rise as you are able to join us in Let It Be a Dance, hymnal number 311.
We
Our closing words are a poem by Donna Miesbach entitled "Change is But the Promise." I stand on the slender rock of faith while chaos swirls all around. Yet I'm not moved, for I know that change is but the promise of life's great unfolding, while behind the screen, even beyond all that is apparent, there is only bliss and love and joy. So fear I not, for that which is my foundation, and on that truth I stand eternal.